too.
Make sure you guys use your mics.
Yep.
Yeah, you good to go?
Yep.
I think we're good. Good to go.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
Oh, all right, sorry. This is the Upper Darby Shade Tree Commission meeting. It's February 2nd, 2023, 7 PM. My name's Evan. I guess I'm the acting chair of the Shade Tree Commission. We also have Mike Atwell. It's just the two of us at the moment. And then we also have Josh Chast and Bill Kaplan from the township. Did you guys want to introduce yourself?
So, hello everyone. My name is Joshua Chast. I'm the Assistant Director for License and Inspections for Planning and Zoning. I've been the staff liaison here for about the last 2 years, and I'm going to be turning over that role to Mr. Bill Kaplan, our new Acting Director of
Leisure
Leisure
Services.
Services.
Yep.
So,
Great. Thank you for having me here. I'm here to be a support. Again, my name is Bill Kaplan. I'm the Acting Director of Leisure Services, live in Upper Darby, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
We're glad to have you on board, Bill. In your role, I think we're going to work pretty closely between the Tree Commission and your Leisure Services group. So it's going to be a real, I think, upgrade for our ability to go forward. Yeah.
Yeah, before we get into it, we want to add an item to the agenda here. 'Cause I think Bonnie and Heidi wanted to talk about tiny forest or pocket forest in the township. So I just wanted to make a motion to add that to the agenda. It's not on here at the moment.
Second the motion.
Anyone opposed? All right, so we'll add that at the end here. All right, I guess we can get into it. So the first thing is the minutes from last meeting. I didn't have any changes.
I had no changes to the meeting minutes.
All right, sounds good. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
All right, January
favor.
23 minutes approved. Okay, so second item on here, spring 2023 tree planting from PHS. So we normally order trees from PHS in the fall and the spring, and we're hopefully going to figure out how many trees we want to order and where we're going to put them right now. So we only have 3 locations picked
But
out at the
We've
moment.
defined 3 locations for trees at this point, for specific needs.
Yeah, usually we do more than that, but
Right.
I guess we can go through these 3 right now and then see
Mhm.
if anyone else has some other ideas. So the first location was 69th Street, like right at the corner of 69th and Market. One of the honey locusts that died there needs to be replaced. There's an empty pit in the sidewalk, so we're hoping to replace that tree with another honey locust. Second location was Windermere Playground in Drexel Hill. It's like Windermere Avenue. There's an old tree there that got removed like a while ago, so we're going to replace that with a cottonwood from PHS. And then the third location, we're supposed to do this last fall. It's like, it's across the street from the Garrettford Fire Station. There's like a dead tree in between the sidewalk and the street. And we got the tree mixed up. I think we accidentally gave it to the tree tenders. So it found a good home, but that one did not end up getting replaced in the fall. So we'll try and do it now. And that'll be a hornbeam, American hornbeam in that spot. So those are our 3. And then Mike, I don't know if you had any suggestions? Or...
I looked around a park near my home. Bill and I just had a quick chat about, or earlier this afternoon about some opportunities for plantings around the township. And there's a little bit of a concern with, I think we have a concern with ordering trees if we don't have specific locations for those trees. But we're trying to balance that with not back-end loading all of our tree planting for the fall, because that becomes logistically difficult with bare root trees and things. So I'm leaning toward a smaller order, or an order that mixes some species that would work in multiple locations. And we have between now and April, when the trees arrive, to kind of sort out which go where. And that's kind of what I'm leaning toward. Laura?
Hi, Laura Wentz, Vice President of Upper Darby Township Council. There's a dead tree, I believe, on Westchester Pike corridor across from the Wawa, or near that vicinity. I think it's a tree that either got hit by lightning or got hit by a car at some point in time, but half of it's alive and half of it's not really alive, from what I can tell. And then also thinking, I know that Dolores did a great job on making sure that there were plenty of trees along Westchester Pike, but I'm wondering if there's some smaller trees we could add in there to just give it a little more
Just
treeness.
more green?
Yeah, some more green, flowering, more coloring. I mean, it's an awesome space. And I know people, it's beautiful. And it's one of our main thoroughways, entrances, or as Gerald would say, our main entrance in from,
From West Philadelphia into Upper Darby.
right, and
Yep.
then Hereford into Upper
Mhm,
Darby.
mhm.
It's a major corridor, so if we have a lot of beautiful trees, that would be really awesome, and different
Yeah.
sizes. I mean, we got great tall ones. I know we have to make it so that it can be mowed properly and easily,
Mhm.
but, it'd be really awesome to put a little something there,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, I think that'd be, that's great.
okay.
Yeah, I'm
Great.
for it.
Thanks.
Dolores?
Yeah, I know that dead tree on Westchester Pike that Laura mentioned. It actually looks better in the summer, and I had mentioned it before to Joe Martin that needed to come down, but it wasn't like pressing, and we had a lot of work before. There's that one, and there's another one just like it, a few blocks down. They're just old, and they've been, limbs
Sure.
have been falling. They actually look a little better in the summer because what's left leaves out. But yes, those trees will need to come down, though, before you can replant them. There are also, though, a few more gaps here and there on Westchester Pike. We've been planting on there since, well, they started it in 1960. And then around 2008, we started replanting what was dying. And so it's mostly done, but you could probably get another 68 trees ordered for that. Another thing I had mentioned to you is that at Sellers Library,
Yes.
where we put some trees are cut down, we put some in, and we have put some other trees in 2 years ago, and they made some nice protectors for them. One of those trees along that fence, though,
Get the
had
protector?
gotten knocked down before they got the
Yeah.
protector on. So there's a spot there. Plus, I had noted, and this was with Jen Heath when she was still here, that along that Maple Street, that's right in front of Sellers, you can see indentations where there were one or two more trees. And so you could put one or two there. Another thought is also last spring, I haven't been at this park, but we had got notice that a big tree had to come down at Brookwood Park. I didn't see it, but we were told that it was dying and they were worried about it being a danger, so they took it down. 2 days later, I saw some people on Facebook complaining that they were taking all the shade out of Brookwood Park. Now, if somebody, I'm not sure where it is, but if somebody wants to take a trip and just look at Brookwood Park, it might be able to use more than one tree.
Yeah. I'd
So
be
those are
glad to
my
do that.
thoughts. And Cardington Rec Center belongs to the school. We have 69th Street Rec Center as a future project, but I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
And Dermont Field could always use more, but maybe not this spring, but at least some could fit on Westchester Pike
Yeah, yeah.
if you're not too busy.
Yeah.
And some at Sellers. And
Okay,
also-
so right now, with if you'll just stay with us
Mm-hmm.
for a second, Dolores. So there were the three locations that Evan cited, a couple on Westchester Pike, like sort of replacements. on
Well, there's
Westchester
two
Pike.
dead, which, there's also a couple empty gaps where trees
Right,
could
right,
fit.
right. But, so there's an opportunity for additional, but you were saying like 6 or 8 places on Westchester Pike,
Yeah,
Loris?
yeah,
Right? Sellers Library is 2, so that's 3, 5, 12, 15. We're at kind of
Yeah.
15 for places that
and
we know of.
Brookwood Park, at least one.
Yes.
And maybe it could take more. I haven't viewed the park myself.
Yeah,
But what I'm thinking is if you buy trees
Yeah.
for the park, if, maybe be a little slim on Westchester Pike. So if you have
Right.
leftover trees, they could
Right.
go on Westchester
Right.
Pike, and then we can always put another tree or two in Westchester Pike
right.
in the future.
And we do have 1 or 2 mature specimens in the nursery, I think, right?
You could do that.
And so we have those to lean on as well.
Right. Some of the
And we should
mature,
use those and get those
Yes.
out into the community.
some that aren't good for people's yards, but would be good for parks. would be
Right,
good.
right. Okay.
Right.
Bonnie? This is great. We have like visitors and participation at the meeting. I don't know what to do with this. Evan.
Hi, Bonnie Hallam, 4719 Woodland Avenue. So one of the things, we just had an advanced pruning workshop at the park, at Nellers Run Park on last Saturday, and we had like 8 or 9 arborists there, which was really a wonderful experience. And one of the things that they brought up and that we've actually heard before is that we should begin to do some succession planting in our parks because some of those big old trees are going to come down, and then we should be starting under them and near them to build up what's going to be there when they come down. So you might want to think about that, where you would want to plant some smaller trees. And we do have some stuff in the nursery that you could, talk to Stephen about, things that might go best under those, as understory trees for, at this point in time. And then other things that are seedlings that will grow up into big trees eventually. So just be, put that on your plate
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
and not just Nailers Run, but think
Right.
about the other parks that we have where the really big trees are now and where we might need to put some smaller things in and as those trees age.
Yeah, that's really evident when you walk around the parks, Bonnie, that you see like big, beautiful trees, but you can also tell they're aged trees and, and we need to be a little proactive so that when those big ones come down, we're not without others starting.
And actually, I just was thinking about the parks that don't have any trees. Golf Park on Golf Road, right? It's in near Sunshine and Delco Ave. It's like Delco Ave is a little tiny road. I don't understand how small roads are called avenues, but they are. But it's right. It's in the 510, and it's literally pavement, playground, and there's one like little grassy knoll, possible triangle that could, in theory, have a tree. I think it has a bush, maybe, but I don't think there's any trees there. So if we could, find our pocket, and this is one of those pocket parks, right? If we can find our pocket, and I know that our council Parks and Recs park committee is looking into, they've done some, go through all of the parks and stuff. They're going to be redoing that this year. And so we can, I can ask them to look for trees. Are there trees? Or small plantings or whatever, so that we can get some shade on trees, parks that have nothing. So that's
Yeah,
another
no, that's
great
great.
place to check.
Yeah.
So,
That's great. Thanks, Laura.
Yep.
That's great.
no, it's on the other side. It's along the 100 line. There's, so North State Road. If you go down North State Road, you make a right onto Delco, and then it dead ends onto Golf. You make a left, and then it's on your right, I believe. It's behind and it's near the gas station, or not the firehouse and the apartment complex. And it's kind of caught between the two. Yeah, it's literally
Well,
mostly cement.
You will, yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know about
yeah.
those, I know Marshall.
Yes, Stephen.
Just one last option. Going to run out of money for buying trees.
Yeah.
The other option is seedlings.
Mhm.
And they start small. It's going to take 5 to 7 years to catch up to a tree. But we have them. They don't cost us anything when we get them. They're very easy to put in.
Mhm.
You got to protect them. Somebody has to check on them now and then, but it is another option. Okay?
No, it's a really good one. Stephen, just for everyone's benefit, Stephen and I took a walk around Marshall Road Park and just were scouting. And after we broke up, Stephen, I went home and I did a Google Maps image of that park and then I rewalked it and just imagined. And it's an example of probably a lot of the parks in the township that there'd be a lot of places where we could start seedlings.
Sure.
Put seedlings, a little barrier like those barriers at Sellers or whatever, just to let people know and let the groundskeepers know that, you know, it's like a no-mow area for that little seedling or whatever. But there are lots of opportunities and they are free and they'll become trees too,
And
so.
we have tubes and stakes to protect them, but you
Nice.
still need something more than that if it's
Right.
at a playground area where kids are running around all the time.
Mhm.
But it's just one other option. It doesn't
Yeah,
cost us much.
and we have a variety of, or we have a pretty decent variety of seedlings.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, any other, Dolores?
Update on the tree checking?
Yeah, sure.
So, and I have some extra equipment to give you.
Oh, great, great.
I said I would do the tree checking on
Yes.
the free trees in Yellers Run Park, and I did that. And a couple of the trees that were up near where you come in from Beverly Boulevard, we planted one last year, and there was one planted there a couple years. So I put some diaper bags around them, too. And I noted that the 6 trees that we moved and planted around the parking lot, there were 2 we planted, 2 that had gotten dug up that the tree tenders helped replant, and then 2 that the tree tenders planted. I have extra diaper bags. I think they should all get them because I can't see people wanting to lug water over there during the summer. So, March-ish or when we get a warm day, a couple days, I can go over and do that
Yeah.
here and there. And about the tree checking, since I set it up for us last year, the way it works is each one of us sets up ourselves as an administrator. That's how, and then you make up your own password and code and you can do tree checking. But until now, if you don't have one, you can use mine. And also I found that sometimes the phone doesn't work well out in the field tree checking. So I take a picture, write down the information, and then I go back home on my computer, and you can pretty much locate the spot anyway, even in a park, and stick it all in that way. So I found that way worked best. 4 we forgot about, or we didn't necessarily forget, but we have to check on those 4 sumacs that Evan and I planted on a nickel plate road. Remember, Evan? We heard there was some damage to them, right?
Definitely damaged.
But are they, but if they're alive, we can prune them up.
One is totally not alive,
Jeez.
another is severely damaged.
But, well, we should check on them, take care of them, and hope that they, right that one got damaged, whatever it is, but they should get checked on.
Yeah, we should add that to the,
Okay, and if you need any more information about the tree checking, just let me know. Now, I had some, we have extra tree guards here, and I've got about 5 extra tree diapers. I'll give them to you. I saved some for myself, so when I go out to Nailers, I'll put this stuff around, but I just figured you wouldn't.
That's great.
When you're tree checking, just put the tree
Yeah, yeah.
guards on,
Yeah.
because I think every tree
Right.
needs a tree guard.
I think I have like about 15 trees at the trail on
Right.
Nickel Plate Road.
We can't overdo it with tree guards, because there was one tree I planted inside of an old tree trunk.
Yes.
And it's well protected all the way around. It's the one off Beverly Boulevard, and I've seen it's done fine. I went and looked at it just a while ago, and there must have been a few little weeds growing. Somebody took the weed whacker, and they 3/4 of the way around cut off the bark. I think it's going to make it because it's young enough, so I put a tree guard around it, but you
Oh,
can't,
nice.
every tree needs a tree guard, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, you can't assume that they're not going to get whacked.
Did you do the tree checking, Mike?
I haven't because we're talking about moving some of those trees because of the sewer, the Delaware County Sewer Authority wanting us to uproot some of the trees we
No,
planted there on the,
not those trees.
oh,
The ones we did in the spring. You were supposed to do like the two at Sellers, and then that other little park on Shadeland Avenue.
Shadeland. Yeah, no, I haven't.
That's fine. I'll
I'll,
resend the email.
yeah,
I
that'd be
didn't-
great.
I
That'd be
didn't
great.
add mine either, so
Yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But Dolores was the only one who added hers, so that's good.
I do have a sign in and all that stuff. Bonnie?
You're going to be sorry that you have us here tonight.
No,
So
no.
one other thing that I really want to mention, now that we're thinking about tree planting time and getting these trees, while we had all the arborists out and they were looking at all the different trees and we were pruning some of the trees, one of the things that they mentioned that we really need to be very careful about and conscientious about as we plant these trees is actually making sure that the root flare is above the ground, because all of the trees that we worked on, we had to dig out the root flare at Naylor's Run because it was buried so low in the ground, and that will cause those trees to die sooner. So, just if there's a way to really talk with the grounds crew who are going to be planning this, and if you need somebody to come in and do a demonstration, or you need any help at all, I think that we have enough people now in the tree tenders, and even I'm sure Evan knows exactly where you're supposed to plant. That we have enough resources within the township that we don't have to make that mistake over and over again. So I just wanted to put that out there now that we're thinking about planting those trees in spring.
Do you think, Bonnie, when they were planted, that that either the soil like compacted over time, or do you think they were planted too deep to begin with?
I think both. I think that happens where the soil gets, especially if you don't shore up underneath
Right.
so if you don't pack it in there so
Mhm.
much, then that tends to drop. But it certainly was not the only reason that the trees were planted deep. And it's a common mistake. People
is.
do it all the time.
Mhm.
We do it. I think Evan watched me do it one time and, called my attention to it. So, it's, but
Well, it's
we don't
probably
have to keep doing it. So that's the thing. We be conscious of it.
It's probably easier to do it right when you're planting one tree or two trees, but when you've got a grove or, you're doing multiples, lots of them, or, yeah.
Okay, just
That's
pay
that's
attention.
really good though, yeah, because we don't want to have to dig them up and raise them, for sure.
One of the things is that the tree tenders has taken on a lot of responsibility for being in the parks and tending to these new trees that are during the summer and at periodic times throughout the years. And what we thought was that basically what we're going to do is weed around the tree, water the tree, and then make sure there's some mulch around these new trees. But when we go out now, we're going to have to give our volunteers instructions to really check on and make sure that they dig up. If the roof flare is not showing, they need to dig it up and make sure that it's exposed. So, we'll also try to do as much as we can to help with that as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good point because that's so important to their survival, chances of survival. Yeah, I want to get back to the tree order because
Yeah.
we got to figure that out.
Yeah, well, I
together.
mean, based on what we've discussed, like, we enumerated about 16 locations excluding succession planting or anything like that. So I would feel confident that if we order 16 and we use trees and seedlings from the nursery in addition in other places, that I think we'll have adequate planting in the spring, but I don't think it's anything that we can't manage.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant with the parks because for this round, we tried to come up with a plan for the Marshall Road Park, the behind Beverly Hills Middle School. And then
Right.
we found out that we couldn't plant there. So, yeah, I'm just hesitant to
Well,
order a bunch of
maybe in the
trees
fall,
for
but
parks.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like order a bunch of trees, then find out we can't plant in these parks. I
Well,
guess
I-
the default is
I-
like put them on the Westchester Pike.
Yeah,
median.
yeah, yeah.
So do you think?
Yeah,
we-
and I spoke, I did speak with Allison, and she was like confident that if we ordered 20 trees, that we'd have no problem like with locations and parks and public spaces and stuff.
I mean,
I
I'm
know
not.
you-
I'm not as confident because
I
we've had
know.
this problem in the past where we've ordered too many trees and then can't find spots for them. I mean, yeah, it just speaks to the fact that we need to like plan ahead a little more, and maybe Bill could help us do some of that in
Yeah.
for some of our parks. Yeah, I mean, if you're confident, so with 16, that's including the 3 that we had.
Yeah, the three locations that you cited, 2 on Westchester Pike, that Laura and,
Put 6 on Westchester Pike if you have extra.
right, but there were 2, the dead tree and the down tree a block away are just refill trees on Westchester Pike. Then there are gaps in Westchester Pike that could take 6 or 8, right? Sellers Library are 2.
2 to 3.
Rookwood Park,
Brookwood,
Brookwood,
right, at least one, I haven't gone there, but I know they took a big tree down.
yeah, so if that's 2, I mean, plus we have nursery trees. So I mean, if,
Well, let's not worry about the nursery trees now because they can go in like any time.
I'm just saying, like, I'm suggesting we use nursery trees if we, in addition. You know,
Yeah, we could definitely do that,
yeah.
but right now we gotta figure out the PHS order. So I counted 14 trees.
Okay, 3 at the initial location, 2 Westchester Pike, 6 to 8 on Westchester Pike to fill in. Right, so that's 3 and 2 is 5. If it's, let's say, 7, that makes 12. 2 at Sellers Library, that's 14. 2 at Brookwood Park, that's 16.
Okay, 16.
Sorry?
You do want at Golf Park.
Goff Park,
You might want to check it out.
okay.
Kind of tree would fit there.
Yeah, that's the other problem is we need to figure out which
Well,
kind of
do
tree
we
is
need to
best for this
enumerate what
spot.
species they are today? I
Well,
think we
no.
just need to say we're gonna order, if we order 16 trees, we're committing the township to 16 times $65 per tree, right?
Well, the
No.
orders due like in 4 days or something. So we
Yeah.
kind of do have to figure out.
Sorry?
If the order's due in 4 days, you'll need the species.
We'll need the species in 4 days, but
Well, we'll have to like decide now.
They can approve the number too.
why?
I mean, I mean, I guess we don't have to. We could just choose the number.
Yeah.
Then
Just,
you and
yeah,
I
That's what
pick
I'm
the
saying,
location
yeah.
and the number,
And,
it'll be all right.
and we'll lean on some others as well and come up with what they should be.
Okay, are you gonna like check out the spots or? like,
Yeah,
is it
I
the
mean,
next 4
I
days?
will,
Do you have
Bill
time?
will, sorry,
I don't have time the next 4 days to like look at the
that's
spots.
okay.
I'll do Westchester Pike.
Dolores
tomorrow.
will
I'll
help
look
with
up the town,
Westchester.
And I'll take pictures of wherever I think a tree could fit.
There you go.
And don't forget to add in the diaper bags in the order,
Okay,
because
yep,
you need them, it's great to have them.
okay.
And since we're not ordering too many trees, there should be
Right.
plenty of money.
So that makes each tree $105, I think, 65 and 40 or
I think it's
whatever.
$27 or something.
I think they're more this time, but yeah.
It's called a diaper bag.
Evan, you have the application?
I do.
You have it. All right, I never got anything sent to me. So
Okay.
as long as
Okay.
somebody has
The
it,
application came to me, I told them I was no longer.
I got it as well, but I got it as
as long
well.
as somebody got it. I
Yes.
did not get it.
Yeah, somebody that's on the commission, yeah. I'll
Josh,
share it with you, Josh. and
Well,
I'll-
no. So share it to Bill because he's.
No,
gonna
I'm
be
gonna
the one.
share with you too, buddy. You're getting it anyway.
You're not going to.
I'm trying to get out of this already. The night's not even over. Dolores,
I think that tonight you could approve a range of between 15 and 20 trees. And then over the next, like tomorrow, I'll go out and look at Westchester Pike.
Yeah.
And then over the next few days, you can get it exactly, but you can
Yeah.
vote on approving between 15 and 20 trees and 15. and
We could say
20.
as many as 20,
Right. And then
not to
then-
exceed.
Then you can make up your
NTE.
mind.
Yeah.
and look at everything a little better.
And Bill, you said you would submit the order for us.
Yes, yeah, whatever New York's supposed to do.
Yeah. I can share it with you. We have a lot of catching up to do, obviously. So that's fine. So I'll make a motion that, that we order up to 20 trees for the spring planting, and the trees to include diaper bags. And I'll take an inventory of the, it looks like we have plenty of tree guards for that order, so we'll be covered for that.
Although you may need some of them for the trees. that didn't get
Existing
guarded
trees, but
last fall. But that's a separate place you'll
Yep.
order from. They're inexpensive. It's
Yeah.
just a couple dollars a guard.
okay.
All right, I'll second. that.
All in favor? Okay. All right, so that's item 2.
All right, sorry. So next item is the Tree City USA application. Josh, could you give us an update on that?
So I submitted the Tree City USA application for 2022. Nobody's said anything back, so not bad news. Well, we're just kind of waiting now to see if everything's all right. In the past, if they've wanted more information on something, they'll just let me know. So far, so good.
Okay,
But I did submit probably about 2 days before the deadline, so they might be, going through a lot right now.
if you're here for them, Josh, it would be good to know if, well, I'm still in possession of that Tree City sign in the back of my
Yes.
car that is to be erected. I was trying to work with Jen Heath on getting that put on Westchester Pike, like as you come into Upper Darby, like from, like West Philadelphia from the 69th Street area or something, Tree City. Could we work on that between now and the next meeting? Great. It'd be nice. I mean, we have it.
Yeah,
Let's
let's get it
celebrate
in.
it. I think it says 38 years. I don't think the year
I think the year's a
marker on it
sticker.
is as
Yeah.
important as just recognizing that, we're working at it.
Would that be where the trees are, where it's close to the police station, where the medium is?
It could be, yeah, it could be. Like, it's open at this point, the exact location's open,
Okay.
yeah. I'd like to get it out of the back of my car and get it put up somewhere we could actually see it.
Oh, Allison, it's going back in her office.
I know, yes. All right. Thanks, Josh, that's great.
All right, next item was the Planning Commission meeting. Could you give us an update on this also, Josh? I don't really know what's going on.
So we brought up the ordinance to the planning commission, as requested by the administration. And the planning commission's a great place to provide feedback. There are a bunch of people that are there thinking about the township's future through land developments, through zoning ordinances. While this is not a zoning ordinance and does not require their approval, we thought it would be a good exercise to get their opinion. And they had some questions, I believe, that I couldn't really address, that we thought it would be great if you guys could come to the meeting, talk a little bit about it, and then, kind of help shed some light on some of their questions.
Is there a prospective date or anything, or is it to the next, February 13th?
Yep.
Okay.
February
Oh, yeah,
13th.
I think I responded to someone that I'd be available.
Yes.
And maybe by Zoom. I might be out of town, but I could do it by Zoom.
Okay, we can always put you up here.
Okay,
Yeah, so that should be a good planning commission meeting, because we're also gonna talk a lot about green stormwater infrastructure with a different speaker from, I forget what their group name is called, but, so it should be good. So it'll be very full circle.
are you available that night on the 13th?
Yeah,
You know,
but like, what's the idea? Do they want us to like present? Have they read the ordinance or like,
They all received the copy of the ordinance.
okay, do they want us to like talk about it or? are we
Yeah, I would just
answer
give
it
the
to-
highlights and then
Okay.
be there to answer any questions they might have.
Okay,
And it's kind of a good exercise, right? Because the ordinance is going to be pretty, right? This is almost like the first test group of people, right? Of, regular citizens to see it. So, right, their reactions are probably going to be, some reactions that you'll see in the future. And those interactions are things that we should take in mind, as we're, getting ready to get this through council and kind of go to the finish line. Yes, practice run.
oh, we've been practicing. Okay, did you have any other questions about that? or-
No, I don't. I don't. I guess that brings us to tiny forests.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called? Is that the accurate?
It is.
Okay.
So the concept behind that, some of the tree tenders, Heidi Haichu, Westbrook Park. Some of the tree tenders have been talking about other ideas to help with the greening, carbon storage, biodiversity, things in the community within Upper Darby that are smaller, right down in the street level. So the concept is called tiny forest, which to explain is sort of like, it can be a community forest the size of a basketball court, and it can make an outsized difference, providing shade, attracting plants and animals, and even storing a bit of carbon. So this concept was developed by a gentleman, Akira Miyawaki. So the original name for tiny forest is this Miyawaki. So in the 70s, he just pioneered a method that, get my pages in order here, that just would bring in young plants close together. They quickly regenerate undegraded land and make a mini forest. So this concept has been taken off since the 70s. There are thousands of them all over the world now. So we thought, since the nursery has various varieties and sizes of trees, including some shrubs and saplings, this might be a good use to just move into a space that doesn't have to be large, amend the soil, pop some things in there. There were some photos some documents that we have that showed what a difference in 2 years. Little seedlings just pop up and start building the forest. So the next step is Bonnie's going to talk about how this might be implemented.
Okay, so this is a concept in which you take a very small area, it's like the size of a tennis court, and in 3 to 5 years have a small forest. And the trees grow a whole lot faster because instead of taking energy in with spreading out, they get the energy to the top, and so they grow up tall but not out. And this then provides a great little dense forest. And we were thinking that this would be really beneficial in a number of places in Upper Darby. And we would like to be able to partner with the Shade Tree Commission to develop a pilot project in which we put in maybe 3 little tiny forests in the township over the next year. And it would be, we have some suggestions for where they could go, but we're totally open to discussing this with the commission and seeing if you have other ideas. One of the places that we think would be great is on Long Lane and Guilford. There's a little triangle park there. And in the past, we've thought about the possibility of actually putting in like a little fruit orchard there, but that would demand a lot of community support and maintenance, whereas if planting a tiny forest actually wouldn't demand very much maintenance. After the third year, it would just sort of just grow. And then you don't have to mow that area, you don't have to do anything to it, just let the trees get dense and grow up, and it would look really beautiful there. Another site, I know that there's this circle at Aronimink, where the shopping center is, right there on Pontiac Road, and that demands a lot of maintenance, where, we have to bring somebody in. I think that we use a private contractor now to maintain that area. But if that were a tiny forest, in a couple of years, you wouldn't have to spend any money on bringing somebody in to landscape that circle, and it would look just as beautiful, if not more beautiful. And then we were thinking that there's some space in Stonehurst Hills around the sort of in back of one of the streets. There's a strip, like a long strip, that's sort of not maintained at all right now, and I'm pretty sure it's township land, not property owner land, that might be another nice location to do a linear forest down that strip. But I'm sure there are tons of other places that would be suitable for it, but we thought maybe we could, think about 3 places and see how that would work. I don't know what else I have on my sheet. I think we can look for some grants. Part of the project that would cost money, would cost time actually from the township, is the part where you have to sort of till up the soil, because you have to make sure that you're not using compacted soil. You have to make sure that it has the nutrients it needs to grow that dense a forest in that short of period of time. So we're hoping that the township would be willing, and they have been so far more than willing, to help out with various projects. So we hope that would happen. Plus, we have other partners that we've been working with that I'm sure would be happy to be part of this project. We are certainly happy to look for funding sources to supplement anything that we might need as far as costs for funding the project. So we just wanted to propose that to you and have you think about it, and we can discuss it and figure out if you think it's a great idea, then we can figure out when we might start it and what we might need and how to move forward.
A couple of questions that don't need to be answered tonight, but what sort of maintenance would you expect in years 1 through 3? Just like watering and that kind of thing?
Yeah, probably watering and possibly weeding, because when you start
Right.
out, the ground is bare, right? And I think that from the pictures and videos, we thought we might have a video clip to show tonight, but we just couldn't get it all together. From the pictures that I've seen, sometimes they put down straw on the ground. But it probably would need weeding, so probably would need to go out there and do some weeding. But other than that, and watering.
Not non-motorized weeding.
Yeah, no, because these plants are really planted very close together.
Yeah.
And so you can't, there's nothing, no mowing, no nothing would happen at these places.
What you know about it so far, are there like length and width dimensions? Like the one area that you described might be like long and sort of narrow. Does that work for this concept, or are we still learning about that?
That I would definitely have to check into as far as linear. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, there's this Miyawaki method, and they are very, very specific about the size and the dimensions and all of that sort of thing. But then there are also others who have done this with variation. And so there's possibly some other ways you can do it as far as the length or the width or, you know, how big things can be. But we'd like to try to stay close to the best practice, and this seems to be the best practice. So we'd have to look into that, but it's a good question.
Would a preliminary aspect of it too require like soil testing and that sort of thing?
Yeah, the very first thing that they ask you to do is actually to take a survey of the surrounding plants, because the suggestion is that you plant within a tiny forest things that you know already grow in that area and thrive in that area. So you would go out and you do a little survey in a radius of the area that you were going to plant and see what other things are growing in that area, what other trees are in that area, and then you would put those trees and trees that sort of do well growing around those kinds of trees. So that's the first thing. And then once you get started in implementing, yes, you would do a soil test to see what the nutrients are and if you have to supplement the nutrients in any way.
It sounds really interesting. Have any thoughts about that or?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the method. I'm a big fan. I've never seen it in person, so it would be exciting to have something like that in Upper Darby. Yeah, I'm just looking at like a few of the spots you suggested. I guess most of them are like traffic circles. So I don't know enough about traffic patterns, but I guess the one thing you have to be careful for is like sight lines. If you're planting in like a traffic circle, and this would be like a really thick planting, so you wouldn't be able to see much.
Are there, do you know, are there other examples in this like region that we know of yet?
I don't.
But maybe by,
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
folks that probably could find that out for us. I
that'd be good.
know Tony works with the Conservancy, and he probably can find out. Even Evan, you know, might be able to find out about some places that are connected with where you work. And certainly, I know the Delaware Riverkeepers Network with Faith Zerby is the director of the water monitoring and does a lot of work here in Upper Darby. She lives here in Upper Darby. They also have a program that's called River Friendly Gardens. And this is a type of thing that they might be able to sort of advise us on, where you're putting plants in that really can do a lot of great stormwater management in these areas. It's a little bit like a rain garden, but only it's a big forest garden. So that sort of thing.
exciting. That sounds great.
So do you think the tree tenders have the capacity to do maintenance on something like this?
Sure. You expect me to say no? Yes, of course. Yes, I think we do have the capacity. I think we have the interest. And every year we try to like take on something that, you know, most of us feel really passionate about. And I think we have a good track record of getting things going and maintaining them. And I do think that there will be enough interest. Our group picks up new people all the time. And I think that there'll be enough interest in doing this, and especially if we start small. And, you know, it might be that we end up only doing one. And, you know, for the future, you know, wait and see how this works, and then
That's the
do-
concept, so to
Exactly.
speak, yeah.
Yeah, sure, but just to, you know, talk it out and see what everyone feels would be reasonable.
Yeah, so the other thing with this is, because it's such like an unconventional like landscaping method, you get like such a thick amount of vegetation, and you have like multiple layers for like to create the best sort of habitat. But to a lot of people, that looks like weedy. It looks like unkept. So I think you kind of like alluded it to a bit in your plan about how this is going to require like a lot of education or some sort of like signage to educate people on this. Did you have like some sort of plan for that, or like what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on
actually
that?
didn't put that in. I just made a brief proposal to you, but absolutely, that would be a great addition to have signage there and educate people about what's going on there. And also in all of the literature that I've read, one of the things that they really like to have happen is to have community members be part of this and to help care for it, and also schools connected to it, so that students come in and students do a lot of the planting and the maintenance of it. That would be a really great way to sort of connect the schools with the area plantings. And yeah, I think that kids would learn a lot. So there's a number of videos, if you go online, where they show school children actually planting these and maintaining them, and, they're wearing their little safety vests and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if we were to go ahead with this, all of that stuff would have to be more spelled out in detail. So I'm not asking, I just wanted to introduce
Yes.
that to you and have you guys think about that and,
Work on it.
let us, know what you think, and we'll move forward if you think that it's a viable project for you.
That's great. Thank you, Bonnie.
Okay, one other thing that I do want to mention is that you can also do these on private property, and we're probably going to put an announcement out to people in the neighborhoods that if you have some space on your, around your house in which you would like to turn into a tiny forest, that we would come and work with you to do that. So not just on public spaces, but private spaces can happen too. And Penn State Extension has a lot of information about how to do that with homeowners. So, and we have a number of contacts with them. So
That's
that's it.
great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah, thank you.
Stephen?
Just say
Yeah,
related to
please.
this, there are a number of logistical things you need to think about.
Mhm.
Besides probably doing percolation tests to see how well the water goes down beforehand. I mean, if it does go down well, I mean, you could probably just use the soil that you have, but you might have to supplement whatever soil is there. The other thing is, you have to look for utility lines, like with any kind of planning, but you have much wider space here that you have to get approved. So, if you have 40 by 60 feet, an awful lot of utility lines could be underneath you. And when these things start to grow, I mean, if you have canopy trees starting to grow, you have to make sure that you have no utility lines within any area. I mean, it's true that these trees are growing straight up and the shrubs are growing straight up, but once the canopy trees get up, they're going out to the sides. So you have to make sure you got plenty of clearance in all those directions. Near a traffic circle, if you have a lot of things, you might even have traffic lights, et cetera.
Right.
So, I mean.
But even like Evan said, just sight lines might be
Yeah.
required for
So I mean,
public safety.
it's got to go through a lot of clearance. You got to look at it left, right, up, down.
Yeah, and for the long term.
Yep.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I like the idea. I'll definitely look into do more research, look into funding opportunities for something like this.
The last thing is, these are so densely packed, every square yard has between 3 to 5 plantings. So, if you got 50 square yards, you're talking about 200 plantings in that
Right.
area.
Right.
You need to think about how densely packed that is. It's probably the kind of thing, you work from the center.
I was just going to say, you'd have to start at the center and work your
start
way
working
out. Otherwise, yeah. All right. Sorry? Yeah, there you go.
We'll see you next week sometime.
That's right. All right.
Yeah, I guess that was it
Any
for the
other-
agenda. Did anyone else have anything else? Any public comments? Anything of the sort?
All right.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Move to close the meeting.
I'll second that.
Very good.
Anyone
All in
opposed?
favor?
All right,
We're good.
meeting adjourned.
Thank you.